Hello, welcome to episode 15, part 2 of 3 for episode 15. We're going to be going in a little bit deeper with marketing content and discussing outbound marketing and how it relates to your organization. So to get on the frame of outbound marketing, I think it's important to talk about what you're mentioning before is being the sales, the shoes of a salesperson, and I think it's going to need to start with how do you arm them with the right information, with the right accounts, contacts, and ultimately the data. So what are the things that you're doing to help your salespeople take that content marketing from an outbound perspective and utilizing it? How are they using that to go out and prospect themselves?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So one of the things that we did in our first kind of beginning is we did an outbound campaign using our Salesforce database and had a just horrendous bounce rate. I mean, 28% bounce rate.
Holy cow.
Had no clue, right?
Ouch.
And it was like, well, that was not a good experience. So we really, took a step back and went, the first thing you have to do in order to really have a successful outbound campaign is you have to have a good database, right? So we spent some time, really cleaned up our database, vetted out the accounts, really thought about how we were using the data. And previously we had been using a different tool, and we actually had a separate marketing database from our sales database.
Oh boy.
And now we're using the same database. So we use Salesforce for everything, our outbound campaigns, our prospecting. And we really invested heavily. We've added 6,000 new accounts and contacts, 6,000 new accounts with contacts this year since January 1st, really focusing. So
Wow.
we have a really robust, we understand that our TAM for our total addressable market for our business is about 22,000 companies. So our goal is to get our database to have at least 12,000 of those companies and then continue to grow and expand that. And we'll be there by June, right? We'll have at least half of that, that total addressable market in our database. And then what we do is we really vet the contacts and we really make sure that they're accurate and that we're really marketing to the top 5. So we really think about the fact that there's a lot of spam filters and companies that if you hit too many contacts in a single account at the same time, you just get caught in the spam filter.
They're going to catch you.
Exactly. So
blacklist you, and that creates a whole other slew of problems. So again, I think that's important because I think salespeople sometimes, I've been there, the spray and pray, let's batch and blast.
And let's hope something bubbles up.
Let's hope something bubbles up.
Right.
And what you're realizing is it's quality of content, making sure you're getting those rifle approaches into that organization and not just going after everything.
Right.
So I think it's an important point to articulate to avoid some of the risks involved with some of that behavior.
Really understanding the personas that really are making the buying decision for your products are important as well. So we really focus on a maximum of top 5, and we really pick those key people in the key departments at the key persona. And then what we do is we really focus on how we use that same content we use for inbound, we use for outbound. Right?
Oh, that's so important.
We build campaigns around those, again, those cornerstone pieces. One of the things that we started doing a year ago, and is kind of going to be a regular for us, is we do distribution disruptors and manufacturing disruptors. So every year we do a blog series on what are the biggest disruption that's going to happen in the market for both of those industry segments. And we do like a 5-part blog series, and we use that as an outbound campaign. And we just start the whole year, starting in like October, November for the upcoming year, putting people into that campaign. And that drives a lot of engagement. They're very educational and they're very relevant to their business. Mm-hmm. So we start with that, and then we really go into the cornerstone pieces and doing those outbound campaigns, really thinking about what's a sequence of events that we hit people. So we're not hitting them too much, but we're hitting them with the right content at the right time and the right personas with the right content.
Right, and I think that's important to articulate when you talk about personas and journeys is what is that right mix of messaging and what does that journey look like, right? So specifically as it relates to manufacturing distributors, those can be 2 separate audiences and even more nuancy within manufacturing market, just having a strong background in that space as well. So it can often be a challenge to figure out those personas and figure out how to reach them with the right message. So it's exciting to hear that organizations are taking the time to do that, and applaud you as a marketing automation person myself to say nicely done with that, because that's where I think a lot of missteps can happen if you're not kind of carving out those segments and really speaking their language. Right. Again, that is a big component of it.
What do you think about, like, from our marketplace of manufacturers and distributors? not all manufacturers are the same. So talking about a branded manufacturer, they have very mature marketing departments, right? They're selling their products. They know their products.
Right.
Talking to a specialty manufacturer who sells a component or an ingredient, they have a completely different concept of marketing. If you try to talk to both of those companies the same. You're going to look foolish,
Absolutely, yep.
right?
And I think you are doing something that a lot of marketers want to do it, but I think are just stuck in this, I don't have the capacity to do the background work. It's, you are confident with your messaging, which is, I know I can help you versus I think I can help you.
Right. Yeah, and I think that, again, I believe if you're going to take the position of being an expert, then you better be an expert. If you're going to have if you're going to have content about thought leadership and building that, that's all about being an expert. So I think it's important that you really think about that and what you can deliver and what you can't. But it's interesting that you said like some marketers want to, but they don't think they can or they don't have time. I don't think you don't have time. Because you're really wasting your prospects' time if you're marketing to them with the wrong content or the wrong message.
It's kind of the thing is like, is it worth building a plan if you're not going to execute it?
Exactly.
If you have a plan, I mean, and I think that's kind of the problem that people run into in marketing is, I have X amount of capacity to do work. I can put all this effort into building a very thorough plan, but then I fail to execute. And sometimes execution often takes priority.
Well, and that's where the augmentation of the sales team is really becoming important, because they can be a natural extension of some of that marketing, right? When you're talking on LinkedIn, have them share some of the posts and share some. You never know that reaches. Yeah. So it's just like having a good discipline and kind of driving that home, because the more advocates you can get behind you. That's what I found as a marketing person as well, and being in that background is, and I have been in sales before, so I appreciate that comment, but being able to go, okay, how can we get the most reach out of this content, and then how can we drive inbound and outbound activities, and really becoming that leader expert.
It's like sales being marketers, marketers being sales. Mm-hmm. It's, okay, as a salesperson or sales manager, I have a team of people that I'm working with. You, the marketing manager, are informing me, here's some content that we know is going to hit home on these types of people. You put together the profile and plan, it's, now you can execute. You've done the plan, the background, you got the information, now you're handing off to sales to execute on the outbound marketing. They may have their book of business or prospects that they're working and have relationships with, and they may like, this is going to resonate with Ralph, with Bob, and Jeanette. It's putting that alignment together, what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it's taking that alignment, making sure, again, we have the understanding of what our customers and what they're saying. Because I've heard it, I've been in the sales, like, what's most important to make this buying decision. Customers will tell you that. They'll say, well, it's cost, it's efficiency, it's doing things right the first time. And as a marketing person, you're like, well, those are some of the same theories we can, are you looking for the right, expert to help you do things right the first time? We are that expert, and here's why. And you can start telling some of those stories, both on an inbound and outbound side, and really be transparent. And then you're also building that trust with that prospect. You're like, you're telling me why you're doing things right the first time. You're explaining to me, you're giving me some stats, and you're referencing
sharing the secret sauce a little bit.
Yeah, and I trust you, because that's what in B2B in particular, that trust factor is.
Well, again, this is a big change for their business, so they're not going to just go with somebody who they don't trust, right? So, and it's interesting you say some of the things that you've said too, Amanda, because I agree wholeheartedly. I think some of the other things I think about is it's not just about the marketing efforts. You also have to build, one of the things that I've been working really hard this last year on is really building myself up as an industry expert, right? So doing a lot of presentations, a lot of webinars, being out there talking about, doing a lot of articles, doing a lot of earned media. And I have publications now that will come to me and say, I will publish anything you write. So, because they're hungry for that thought leadership content too. And what they're finding is that so many companies sell, but they don't have that really good content. And everything is just so sales focused. And I've actually had emails come in from people who have said, we're not ready to make a buying decision yet, but we're definitely looking. And you guys have the best content of anybody that I've seen. And I'm like, to me, that's a score and a win. If a customer is going to, our prospect, our future customer, is going to take the time to write an email like that,
You just earned a referral there.
Exactly. Like that's
And
just
that's who you want to be
validation.
working with, right?
Exactly.
Someone that knows the industry, knows what questions to ask, and they're also following the expert. Like, then that's a good match, right? Because you're out educating yourself as a prospect, you're knowing the right questions to ask, and you're also, aligned with how we, again, are in the market. So again, your value prop, making sure you're the subject matter expert. So I think that's so important to distinguish for businesses as well, is what is your goal, how do you want to get there, and what makes you stand out and differentiate among your competitors.
Right.
And for Insight, it is that subject matter expert, that content piece, and that transparency, which a lot of organizations, it's hard to have that nowadays. So I'm sure that's very much well seen in the marketplace.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a lot of work. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's a huge amount of work. It's sometimes you really
It's the right work.
It is, but sometimes you go, how are we going to get all this done? And I can tell you, like,
Keeps you up at night.
It does keep me up at night. It's what keeps me up at night. But we have a small team, and one of the things we do is we really manage day by day. Like, what do we have to get done today? But because we have such a solid marketing plan for the year of what's important, and then we have a content plan that supports that, we know what's due and what's relevant and when it has to be done. And like I said, so that allows us to just focus day by day. And we get together again, like kind of following that agile, we have a stand up every morning.
Perfect.
And we just sit together and we sit, stand, whatever we're doing. But we literally just go, well, what do we have to get done today? And then we just break from that meeting with everybody. Maybe we have to build a landing page. Maybe we need to do this. But everybody breaks from that meeting, and that's what they have to get done that day. And that really helps us get this content out the door. It helps us really, build our SEO by building these landing pages with really, really rich SEO and recognizing what's going to drive the most value for us as an organization from a marketing effort.
So let's talk a little bit more about the scalability of this. So we have great content, we've done the background, we have a sales team that we're kind of augmenting for and trying to assist them. How do we take that to the next level? What are the things that you're doing to kind of leverage more with less?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I think for us, it really helps having these cornerstone pieces because it pretty much allows me to know what we need to do. And then we really look at we really kind of manage by a calendar, to be honest with you. Like at the beginning of the year, we created a content calendar and a schedule and what pieces we're creating when, what's getting published when. And that really drives a lot of how we get things done and what we deliver on. Now, we're also flexible. So if something changes or comes up,
breathing marketing
absolutely, we'll make adjustments. We have an event coming up, and we're really looking at not only that, but when we're doing these things, what drives more value. So if we're going to do these really segmented targeting campaigns. So one of the things we're looking at is really segmenting our market. So you have manufacturers and distributors, but you also have specialty manufacturers, finished goods, durable goods distributors, non-durable goods distributors.
Look at her, she knows her. She is the manufacturing guru expert.
But we really look at then below that, then you get into plumbing and heating and HVAC, and you get into electrical supply.
Yeah, because it's the industry.
Right. So we're really looking at doing campaigns that are, or maybe it's the ERP that these companies are on. So we're really looking at what is much more even segmented. I don't like to talk about just verticals because I think it's more about segmentation than it is verticals, because it might be a vertical, but it might be an ERP, or it might be a location. It could be a lot of different things. So we're going to an event that's an ERP event coming up, and one of the things we're doing is it's having a landing page, it's having an outbound campaign, it's doing a press release to support that we're going to be there, but then we're also offering a promotion, right? Mm-hmm. So if you meet with us, if you come to this event and you meet with us at this event, we will give you a discount off your first year, right? And we'll even give you a guarantee that will help transform your business, or we'll give you your money back. So we're really thinking about putting our money where our mouth is, and how do we, again, differentiate ourselves from our competition. And again, if you're the expert, then you can say that with confidence. Mm-hmm. And we don't expect we're going to lose those customers, right? One of the things, we're a SaaS company, and one of the things we say is we have to earn our customers' business every single year, right? It's not a guarantee. So we really focus on that customer success, and we have great raving fan customers who are, love to talk about how much they love Insight. And that's it itself is a success. We had an analyst, so in our industry, these industry analysts are really important. And we had an analyst in recently in a day session, and he said, "Your customers absolutely love you, and I just don't get it." And it was like, wow, that's awesome. And so we started talking about our customer success plan. And so it for us, it's really that holistic. It's marketing says what's real, sales delivers what's real, and then as a company, we also support that.
So it's like that 360 marketing. It's like even before you become a prospect, you're already in the market, you're making that well-rounded, presence in there, and then you're letting customers kind of drive and figure it out for themselves, and then you're carrying it all the way through to becoming a customer. And raving fans, what better way to get more business than from your fan?
Right.
Well,
referrals phenomenal.
Yeah,
exactly. Like asking them to be a referral, and if you have a happy customer, they're more willing to. It's like, you did so many amazing things for me. I'm more than happy to, be a reference call to help speak at an event. I mean, that's what we use for our customers is. They're a great reference to speak because they're the thought leaders in their expert space.
And that's where I definitely see the new beginnings of marketing is customer advocacy and getting some of that pieces, some of that content pieces back to some of the referrals. Why not? Because they're connected with the people, that are like you or want to do business with you, like them that want to do business with you. So.
Yeah, we do a lot of presentations with our customers. We do a lot of we're actually, we're starting a podcast channel and series kind of talking about busting the myths of B2B e-commerce. It's kind of the first
we'll
series
put that
we're
on
doing.
the post so people can follow it.
But one of the things we're doing is we're doing those with our customers because like you said, they're the experts. They're the ones who are living and breathing this every day, and they're our best advocates. So again, taking advantages of those relationships you have is also part of what makes marketing really work, right?
Awesome. Thanks again for watching this video or podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. We highly encourage it and really welcome the support. You can find all of our other discussions on YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes. And this is where you can find our other topics about marketing automation, CRM, Salesforce, and a host of other topics.